Good afternoon. My name is George Snipes. I'm a field director with the Atlanta Area Council, and I'm excited for us to kick off our fall recruiting season. I've got with us our expert in fall recruiting, Bert Bender, our council new member coordinator. Bert, feel free to take it away.
All right. Well, welcome, everybody. I'm glad you all could, break away on a Friday afternoon, or to wave people off and say, I'm on a Zoom meeting if you're at work. We're glad you could be here because this is important stuff. This is an important time. And what we're doing is this is going to be sort of the studio version of what I think was a pretty exciting and successful event Wednesday night, June 23 at the Volunteer Service Center, when we had 112 people gathering in the big Cowart room. And I think that was the first big volunteer event like that. And we're excited to get this off. The event didn't get broadcast on Facebook Live, so there's no tapes or video of it, but we're going to put it down today. Now, the event that we had, it started with our new member, our VP of membership, Doug Turner. He kicked it off, gave everybody a welcome, and really gave us a good, solid overview as to why this is such an important year for recruiting. Then Scout Mom Jill Robinson offered her gratitude to those who lead Scouts and deliver the program, and made a significant reveal of support from your Atlanta Braves towards Cub Scout recruiting this year. Now, we're going to reveal that in a few more slides, so hold the suspense, everybody. And then I was introduced as the council new member coordinator. This shows me an actual involvement at Weeblo's camp years ago with my son, who had just finished the Cut Your Own Hair badge. He is now a grown-up Eagle Scout, retired assistant scoutmaster, and of last month, a college graduate. Congratulations, Alex. And that's really why I'm in this, because of what the program did for my kids, their friends. I hope that your kids and their friends and the friends that they recruit will also have a great experience. So quick overview of this hour. That QR code you see will take you to the Atlanta Area Council recruiting resource pages that start with an overview, including PDF and PowerPoint versions of these slides, plus the 2021 Guide to Cub Scout Family Recruiting. Separate pages cover each of the 6 steps that we'll cover here, and then some, including how to apply these steps in Scouts BSA troops, because a lot of the recruiting ideas we have here will work for them. You'll just delegate more to your troop junior leaders. So important to consider, PACs in the 2021 year have had a hard time. They've had to be super cautious with PACs and DEMs that met in person, limited in most cases to outdoor events, masked, definitely physical distancing. And sadly, a lot of PACs and DEMs not meeting at all or only meeting virtually. And while I hope this hour is a fairly fun hour of Zoom, I know that not every hour of Zoom has been fun. But the second photo there shows where we're going, but we're not there yet, because as they say in baseball, it ain't over till it's over. And the pandemic continues while many of us adults are vaxxed and back out doing things we used to do. We have to remember that no Cub Scout will have vaccine protection until maybe the end of this year. So even if you've been vaccinated, remember that your Scouts are not, and be kind and wear a mask. Think of it like other safety precautions, like life jackets when boating. Sure, you may be a triathlete, able to swim a mile easily before cycling a century circuit like George, and then running a marathon like Ben. But if you do a Cub Scout boating activity, you will wear a life jacket to set the example. We'll do more on COVID safety in a bit and how we can involve families who have the greatest concerns about COVID. Let's talk about what's new for 21-22. Number one, Atlanta Area Council flyers. These have been produced for us by Accenture after significant investment in research and identifying how and why parents will want to join Scouting. The flyer is in the Promote Your PAC program page at that QR code. There's also other flyers there, including do-it-yourself versions that you can create to fit your PAC. We believe that an 8.5 by 11 version of this flyer will be created for easier download, edit, and use by PAC so that you can use the same look and some of the same content that Accenture has created for the Atlanta Area Council. Also new, easier to read signs that won't fade in the heat and rain. Try that text. It will take you to the Atlanta Area Council Join Cub Scouting page, and then to a schools list by county and by district, and then to your Be a Scout link if you've got a pack at that school where you can highlight, number one, your program generally, what you do, what sets you apart, any fun welcoming den and pack events that are coming up, and also when it's time, you can highlight your big sign-up events there. Plus, if people are swayed by what you've got there, they may sign up today. We've had several folks sign up out of the blue on our Be a Scout page, and we love that. It's becoming more and more common. More on that later. But wait, there's more. There's a lot more. In the Atlanta Area Council, launch kits have been funded through generous donors, and the Scouting on Demand team has put together these items, just about a $60 value, which will be sent to new signups shortly after they register with Cub Scouts this cycle. Items include a robotic hand because, well, you need a robotic hand. It's super fun. That's what we're all about. Also a glow terrarium, magnet, also, parts of the 6 Cub essentials like a water bottle, a first aid kit, a whistle, headlamp, and I forget the other 2 6 essentials. There'll be Bobcat patch, pin, card, a knot guide, and more. So that will give Scouts a great package that they can open up with their families and get going on Cub Scouting. And now let me kick it to George, because through his efforts and the efforts of others in the Atlanta Area Council, we have great news. George?
Well, I'm really excited to share some special news today. We have secured a sponsor. The Atlanta Braves, as you've seen on a couple of things already, is our big sponsor for fall recruiting this year. But specifically, they are going to sponsor a brand new Cub Scout handbook for every new scout that signs up this fall to receive at their sign-up event. If they sign up online, we'll get it to them through the pack soon after. We are so excited that we can onboard and welcome these new families to immediately jump into scouting with their very own Scout handbook. This is a huge investment, over $30,000 from the Atlanta Braves, and we are very excited to be able to do this for our new scouts and families.
That is indeed terrific news. And just imagine that at sign-up events, when the parents are there, they have done the online registration, they have paid, right then, their kid is putting the nose in the book, the parent is looking in the book, they are getting an immediate dive into what we do in scouting. And that's going to be a very powerful moment that we have. Also new for 2021 and useful for anyone in any council is this Guide to Cub Scout Family Recruiting. Now we start with one page that gives sort of headline versions of what we call the 6 steps to successful and sustainable recruiting. And it follows with detail about each of those steps, plus links to relevant resources about each step for those who want to take a deeper dive in any aspect of it. And then it provides a timeline approach to recruiting if you want to use that when you sit down with your pack leaders. And while it's designed for fall or back to school recruiting, it also focuses on how you would do that for winter, spring, or even summer recruiting, because all of those can work for you too. And though we're in the spring recruiting season, keep in mind for 2022, when hopefully more Cub Scouts can scout safely after vaccinations, we hope that you begin to plan for having fun family den and pack welcoming events where new families can take a test drive of Cub Scouting in a great way to bring new families on board next spring. Oh, P.S. That also works right now. You can have small events, have pack events, den events, and invite new families. Let them test drive swimming, biking, hiking, fishing, whatever you like to do. So you'll see that. And then in the back of the guide, there will also be ideas about membership and recruiting team roles that you might deploy if you have parents who are interested but aren't, registered Cub Masters or den leaders, and a plan and script for big sign-up events. More on that later. Now, we call it a guide to Cub Scout family recruiting for a reason. our goal is not just to recruit kids, but to recruit families. The mantra of the Atlanta Area Council program and membership teams is stronger families through scouting. And in Cub Scouting, we get there by involving the whole family, not just bringing in new kids. You'll also see in the guide that we don't want to recruit by just focusing on a school sign-up night where the goal is to sign up as many kids as possible. Now, between volunteer leaders and our great district professionals, we know that their stories of camping and hiking and biking and BBs and archery especially, that will get plenty of new kids signed up. They'll all want to do that. We have no doubt about that. But we want sustainable recruiting. And that includes a foundation built on things like having enough registered, trained, and engaged leaders to organize families to deliver the program together. So if your pack has plenty of den leaders and a foundation to be a pack of 50 kids and 6 den leaders plus assistants at each den, or 100 kids with 12 den leaders plus assistants, go for it. But if you've not yet got that foundation to support all that, when you have your sign-up events, your recruiting will need to be more limited and focus more on parents stepping up as leaders. But for more youth, if you follow the steps, more activity planning, more promotion, more leader recruiting, you can get there, and we'll show you how. Let's take a 30,000-foot look at the idea of recruiting and focus on why people join. For kids, it's simple. Kids just want to have fun. Fun stuff with other kids, and frankly, fun stuff that's semi-dangerous or challenging, like fire, knives, learning how to ride a bike, exploring the outdoors, finding snakes, stuff like that. And yeah, for some, it's the uniforms, and is there a badge for that? So we've got that going for us too. We can really attract a lot of kids through fun stuff that we do. Why do adults put their kids in Cub Scouts? It's probably not because their sweet child will do dangerous stuff like sharp knives and hot fires, but they'll do it for a variety of good reasons. Frankly, the most common reason will be other families do it. They'll get peer-to-peer contact from parents of kids their age, and they'll join up because of that, just because others are doing it. Maybe they'll do it because they realize these are fun family activities. That's why the test drive at a den or pack family fun event is a good idea. And maybe they'll want their kids outdoors and not being on a Zoom like this. Or they'll understand the values of the Scout law and want to drive that home. Maybe they'll join up because they were in Scouts, but we need to be sure not just to attract legacy families, but also new families who have no earthly idea what Cub Scouting is. So now, let's think about reasons why families don't join. We put this question out in the live session the other night and got some great comments then and after. One concern is a comment that we can put in the category of the fees are too darn high, especially the national fees that have gone up so high over the past few years, and even before, uniform costs, activity costs, pack program items, patches, etc. And yes, there is sticker shock, especially for families who may remember that the fee was $24 just a few years ago. So sadly, that does put the onus on us and the BSA nationally and councils to articulate the value proposition, both by explaining it to parents and in packs and dens by having a robust calendar of activities that makes families know that Cub Scouting is worth it, that when they do it, it's valuable and they want to do more. Other ways to help include explaining your fundraising programs, whether popcorn or camp cards or other approved fundraisers, because if you put those into effect, that can reduce or even eliminate the need to swipe a card or stroke a check for your pack dues. Now, in the Atlanta Area Council, good news, the impact of fees is helped out by these new Cub Scout items that they'll receive. A September sign-up will pay $50 to National for 2021, $25 in prorated annual registration fee, $25 for the new member fee, and they'll receive nearly $70 in value between the handbook and the launch kit. So right there, they're getting something. A second area of concern that is causing some parents to be reluctant is the issue of bankruptcy and youth issues and all the ads they saw last year about suing the BSA. And part of this is related to the fees are so darn high. And part of it is we need to be sure that families know that scouting is a safe place. Now, as far as the impact of bankruptcy and all that, we will know more when that is finalized. And we admit that that is clearing up issues from the past, lack of diligence about youth protection in certain parts of the country. But today, for parents joining now, as any registered leader knows, youth protection is a number one, a number two, and a number three key item that leaders are concerned about and that the program is concerned about. So parents should be told about that. It should be reinforced with them. And frankly, you're doing them a service as parents if you invite them to take youth protection training so that they too can, number one, see how important it is to scouting. Number two, they can see how scouting is training their registered leaders about youth protection. And number three, that's just darn good information for parents to have. So we're doing them a service if we get them to do that, even if they don't register as leaders. A third comment we had was, your PAC doesn't meet on a day or time that's convenient to me. Now, there's a couple solutions here, both of which will get highlighted in a bit. Number one, it's not a bad idea if your PAC is not absolutely locked in on we will meet only on one day and at one time to, know what neighboring PACs do. So if you're a Tuesday evening PAC, but down the street is a Sunday afternoon PAC, let parents know when they come to your school sign-up night, and vice versa. The Sunday afternoon PAC can say, hey, there's a Tuesday evening PAC. Another solution sort of comes from the first, which is, what if you cut dens loose to meet at different times? For example, you might have a Tuesday evening den of tigers and a Sunday afternoon den of tigers meeting when they can. Or if sports is the conflict, because from now to November, we're doing soccer or football or whatever, we've often had fourth and fifth grade dens that were the footballer den and the non-footballer den, and they met on different schedules. You could actually have a den that recruits from the sports team and has mini meetings after sports practice and pulls in more families as a result from that team. So even though you may not be able to get into your building for an indoor meeting, you can still meet. Remember that many dens know that meeting outside is a great idea, like a tour of playgrounds or a tour of parks, where you go different places and scout out new things. A question that came up the other night was that religion might be a barrier for some families, that the perception, and frankly, sometimes it's promulgated by leaders, that the BSA is too restrictive, that families that don't go to church feel they can't join. And I'll admit that's a common misperception, and there's a lot of online shouting past each other about that. But I will say, having been trained as a lawyer and having read the Declaration of Religious Principle, the BSA certainly feels that God and religion are of paramount importance, but they also say that the family is the ultimate determiner of what the belief of the family and the scout should be. So if you look at the scout law that says the scout is reverent, that's described today as be reverent towards God. Doesn't tell you, exactly how that is. Reverent means respect. It doesn't mean you go to church necessarily. And we would expect everyone to be reverent in that way. Be faithful in your religious duties, not setting out what those need to be, because the BSA says the family decides. And third, and this is important, respect the beliefs of others. So if you have a family that says, oh, I'd like to do Cub Scouting, but we don't go to church. Yes, they can still join. We respect their beliefs. After all, if they're going to join us, they will take the oath and say the Scout Law. And if they live up to the 12 points of the Scout Law or do their best, that's pretty good. And a lot of pastors would say, wow, I wish a lot of my parishioners did those things. So there are ways to work through negative reactions. It is a challenge, but I think we can work through that as we recruit. So given all that, recruiting is hard. There is no one thing that will result in sustainable success, no silver bullet, but in the guide and on our recruiting resources website, we've collected from Atlanta and from around the country many ideas that work. Not all the time, not in every pack or den, but we've got many arrows you can put in your quiver as you aim at recruiting families. So with that, let's take a dive into the steps for successful recruiting. And as you look at this, you'll see that school sign-up night or another big sign-up event doesn't fit in until step 5, after you've built a foundation from the first 4 steps. Truth be told, if you work the first 4 steps, you can have great recruiting results well before any sign-up event. So let's dive into those, because they will help you at your sign-up event, and they are essential to successful and sustainable recruiting. Step 1, Cub Scouting. What do you do in your pack? Not when do you meet, but what do you do? What's fun and exciting and appealing to kids and parents that will make them perk up at your pack program and say, scout me in? Because activities are a great hook for families. I want to do that, especially families that want to be engaged and active and not just dropping off their kids every other Tuesday for an hour while they run errands. You want families that want to go places and do challenging things and create memories that will last a lifetime. So let's take a look at why planning a calendar of activities is so important. And George, I'm going to ask you a question in a second. I'm going to ask you, which pack would you rather join? Would you rather join the pack that puts off planning until after they know who's in the pack, after they have a bunch of signups, schedule a meeting to plan, develop a calendar at that meeting, and they'll probably need another meeting because they didn't get enough leaders, so they really can't get started. And then people have dropped out and they're fussing at the volunteer service center to get a refund? Or would you rather join a pack that promotes a plan, showing activities that are exciting, appealing, fun stuff that families want to do, hopefully starting right this weekend, that families can jump right in, and where there's more than enough activities that nobody frets about missing some because they know there will be more? So George, you've got kids. Which one would you rather join, the procrastinator pack or the we've got a plan pack?
Well, as a father of a soon-to-be lion, I would love to join the we have a plan pack.
Oh my goodness. In great baseball practice, he has hit it off the tee very nicely. So now I could spend a whole hour on how you develop a great calendar of activities, a terrific pack program for the coming year, but I won't do it here. We don't have enough time, and also because I already did it. If you QR this link, you'll get a resource page from the Plan Your Best Year Ever in Cub Scouting, including a link to a video presentation that included a bit of mind-blowing and a bit of myth-busting and a lot of ideas to build a great pack and den program. I'll hit a few points here, but the full program is worth it and worth sharing with leaders in your pack to rethink how you deliver Cub Scouting. The basic idea is build a plan of key activities now that people say, ooh, we want to do it. Ideally, seek feedback from all your current families, like, hey, you hung with us the last year. What do you want to do this year? If they were in it before the pandemic, what did you like from 2019 back in those fun days? Or what do you wish we would have done or would do now that you've thought about it during our time of quarantine? Now, one approach is the lather, rinse, repeat method of program planning, where the 21-22 plan is like a sequel to the 2019-20 plan or the 2018-2019 plan. But, don't get stuck in a rut. Sequels can be great. Godfather 2, probably better than The Godfather. Jaws 2, terrible compared to Jaws 1. So scout out new places and create a plan that may be new and interesting so that your returning parents don't say, oh, we've done that. We don't want to do that again. Here's one activity plan. This is just one example. And by the way, this was put together by one person. Okay, me. I put it together. Not that you should put a plan together with just one person. In an actual pack, You want to solicit ideas from as many people as possible. But it does take somebody to start throwing out ideas about, hey, why don't we do this, in order to prime the pump for others to participate as you plan your program. So here you've got, an August plan of let's have a swim party, let's do the night with the Braves. That will be awesome. October, I've thrown out an idea of let's have a field day with games, soccer, kickball. We can do disc golf. We can do ultimate. October, hey, let's go camping. That's going to be great. November, we're going to have a citizen thing, Veterans Day parade, then a hike. November, a holiday event. January, a big fun overnight. Some places like the Zoo Museum overnights and Space Camp and Patriots Point, they are not yet open. Keeping an eye on that is going to be super important because they will open, and some of those places, if you get on their list, they will give you an alert as they decide to open up again. In February, I've got, the idea of service, scouting for food, and let's do our Pinewood Derby then. March, crazy, let's go fishing. We have some fisher people in our pack. Let's get the whole pack fishing. April, let's do more camping. May, I've got an idea of let's do kites and rockets. And I don't know why I did both of those together. I don't think you should shoot rockets at kites. I don't know if it's against the guide to safe scouting, but don't do that if a kid is holding a kite. I also have an idea of having an end of year awards banquet that we will call the Blue and Gold Banquet. And this was a comment that I made the other night, and someone came up to me and said, oh, that's a lifesaver of an idea. And he said, I've had so much stress as a den leader because we don't really get started until late September. And then they're telling me you have to be done with the rank by the end of January so we can get our advancement reports in and award all the ranks in February. So he says, yeah, why not do the awards banquet at the end of the year? It's going to make life easier on den leaders, and den leader is the hardest job. For those who are worried, well, scouting's birthday is in February. Okay, I get that, but scouting is kind. Scouting will forgive you if you celebrate a few months late. Your Aunt Ethel holds a grudge. If you miss her birthday by one day, you're out of the will. So scouting is kind. Do your Blue and Gold Banquet party when it's easy for you. Keep it simple, make it fun. More on that later. Plus, we'll know more about like when day camp and twilight camp is next June, and resident camp and so on. P.S. Bert Adams, Cub Scout camp. I did it 4 years right before they got an air-conditioned dining hall. But those 4 campouts were the most fun camping events that I ever had. And we got great results out of the kids who would go to those campouts, stuck with the program. Most of them either made Eagle Scout or became Division I scholarship football players. So there's that. So here's an idea that's fleshed out more in that video. In the live session, we asked if anyone knew the origin of the question, does this spark joy? And there were several who immediately shouted, Marie Kondo. Now, you may wonder, what does Marie Kondo have to do with Cub Scouting? And the answer is her approach to life and things in your life is the same as Kismet. Keep it simple, make it fun. And that's a concept Cub Scout leaders have heard repeatedly, but maybe don't always follow. It becomes one of those things that you just say, but then you feel like, oh, we have to do this, so we have to do it, even if it's not simple and not fun. But I strongly suggest you evaluate your program and your activities, and like Marie Kondo helping you get rid of clutter in your house, evaluate each activity. Ask, does this spark joy? And if you have an event that doesn't spark joy, move on. Do something else. Find something that will spark joy. Many packs realize this and frankly don't even try to have old style pack meetings in the gym or church basement, but instead only do really fun, exciting, appealing activities that are different each month, like swimming, hiking, rocket launches, kite flying, fishing, biking, boating, and stuff like that. That's going to be much more memorable than sitting around listening to announcements in a church basement. So that's what you want to do. Now, something that does not spark joy is the pandemic. but it is a joy if we all come through this safely. So to echo the earlier, even if you're vaxxed and you feel safe going out, going to a restaurant, going to a show, your Cub Scouts are not vaxxed. And some of their family members don't have vaccine protection either, in many cases, not because they don't want the vaccine, but because it won't work, like immunocompromised people, people who are in treatment for cancer or have other issues. And we have to be kind to them. So we have to follow rules, the charter organization rules, event location rules, no doubt. We also need to follow common sense, even if the event location says, well, wear a mask if you feel like you need to, because it is safer to protect people while we are still in this interim situation of the pandemic. And frankly, if we use some common sense safety rules, we're going to have more fun. We know that outdoor scouting is more fun than indoor scouting. We frankly know that smaller activities like in a den are better than larger activities in many ways, because you can connect and get the parents engaged more, and through that build stronger families through scouting. If you look at the methods of Cub Scouting, one of them is belonging to a den. There's no method that says attend a big pack meeting. It's small group, getting connected with the den. You can do your whole Cub Scout program through that. Plus you can do pack activities where all the dens, get together and hike or bike, whatever. But small groups better than large groups. So another thing that you might want to consider doing is having more adults involved, both for supervising and eyes and for monitoring their kids, so that if where you do have rules about distancing and masks and so on, you have parents who are charged by you with make sure your kids follow the rules, and they can, by attending and helping and participating in that way, maybe even start to take on more of sharing the lead of delivering the Cub Scout program. Now, even then, some will not want to attend group activities or aren't ready yet, but they can still Cub Scout even from a distance, or just by doing, select small activities that they see that will be safe. For example, fishing. Fishing is the ultimate social distancing activity. Super fun, outdoors, get away from me, don't scare the fish. So maybe they'll come to the fishing event, but don't want to gather at the Pinewood Derby and be happy watching it on the video feed. So the good news for them is your pack and den can create an environment where they can do what they want to do and also participate even from a distance, because we have so many tools through the Cub Scout advancement resources on the Atlanta Area Council website and the Scouting on Demand resources that are key to helping parents do it at home. And they can do the things at home that you may be doing in a group setting that may not be within their comfort zone. So here we are. We finished step one. We've got a plan. George, are we ready for sign-up night?
I think so. But wait, do we need to tell people about our plan?
You mean they don't know? You mean my telepathy is not strong enough to enter your clairvoyant consciousness and know what I've planned?
Not strong enough yet.
Okay, well, we're going to have to work on that, and we have some ways to do it. So we've got a plan. Step two, shout that plan out. Let people know your program plan, because you want your current families to know. Let them know what the plan looks like. Get their feedback, maybe more ideas. You may have just started up in the spring. You may have people on the roster, but you haven't been meeting or have just been doing sad little Zooms. Let them see how they can get back out and scout. Then reach out to those who started with you at the beginning of school in 2019, but dropped in 2020 because of the pandemic. A rational choice. We get that. Share how you're back with your pack and invite them to come back in. And then reach out beyond those current and former families. And make sure the outreach isn't just the Cub Master and the den leader, but Cub Masters and den leaders giving power to the parents. Give them encouragement and tools to share your pack program with friends, neighbors, and fellow class parents. Now, that all sounds good. And sadly, Here we go again with the there's no one silver bullet, but many arrows in your quiver theme. There is no one way to deliver information today. It's not like all information comes from a town crier on the local square. But a cool key tool to have is a handout. We'll call it a packet that you can give to parents to let them know who you are, what you do, and lead them both to more information about that, since they'll have questions if they're intrigued, and how to sign up and join you. And you can share that in a lot of different ways. Hard handouts on paper, emails, text with a link, websites, not just a PAC website or Facebook page, but also on school, church, and community sites like Nextdoor and more. From the Atlanta Area Council, you can get yard signs, standees, flyers, posters, and more. And when school comes back, if you've got good rapport with the school, more on that later, you can get delivery of both a general packet flyer that says what we do and a sign up event flyer for when you're focusing on that day. Now the school may say, sorry, we're not going to hand out paper here. It's icky plus hard. Okay, that's their choice. And maybe they won't distribute them inside, but ask, can you distribute them outside, like in the carpool line? Or can parents at a PTA, PTO event hand them out to other parents? Can your parents email them to other families in their grade level? You don't ask, you don't get a yes. If you don't ask your parents, they can't make the key calls and chats and emails and texts because those are very powerful methods, peer-to-peer, parent-to-parent recruiting to get families to join. Now here's an example. We mentioned packet, and while this is a reduced view and you'd have to get real close to your computer to read it on this slide, this is actually the simplest form of a packet because it's one sheet of paper, two sides, includes a QR code that'll take you to FAQs about this pack, and it also has photographs. Now you may say, oh, we don't have a PAC website. Yeah, maybe your paper packet would then have to be bigger to include a calendar of activities, leader and family roster, other information like your uniforms and so on. But get this, any PAC can have a QR code that will at least lead them to the key three of the unit, because if you go to your Be a Scout pin at Be a Scout, enter your zip code, find your PAC, you can copy the link to want more information in that part of the pin, and that can be on a QR code that you can get back to someone who pings you on Be a Scout and then email them all that stuff that would be in your hard copy packet. Now, this is one example of a do-it-yourself flyer, and for our pack, we'll actually create more versions, ideally with pictures at each den level so that scouts can be fired up when they see their own picture. There's me, and hand it out to their friends. Look, this is me when I won the Pinewood Derby, and their friends will see them and say, look at James, he got a trophy, and hopefully they'll want to join them. Quick story, we had a pack in Fairburn that every year would recruit 15, 20, 15, 20, 80, 15. And I asked Anthony, the Cub master, I said, Anthony, what happened? Last year you recruited 80, this year 15. Well, you're killing me here. And he says, well, last year was different. I said, how? He said, well, last year we were on the council flyer. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, there were 3 pictures on the Atlanta Area Council flyer, and they were all of our kids. And he said, when they passed them out in school, kids said, I know those guys. I want to join. So that's how they had 80 new signups come into their pack. So personalizing can be very powerful. Think about it. When you buy a mirror at the drugstore, or a frame at a drugstore, and you see a beautiful family there, do you keep that when you put it up in your house? No, you put your own picture in there. Same thing with the pack. If you personalize it, that can be a powerful tool. Now you've made a packet, you've got that one pager. Empower your parents to pass out your packets. If you give every parent copies of it, especially moms who like Cub Scouting, they can reach into their purse when they talk to somebody about Cub Scouting and say, here's information about our pack. That peer-to-peer, parent-to-parent recruiting is very powerful. Your kids can be empowered too. Kid-to-kid recruiting is great. And PACs should think about, when you get back together at sign-up night, frankly, or before, if you're getting together, please get together this summer and do something. have recruiter patches in stock so that you let those kids know you bring a friend and they join, you're getting a recruiter patch. Or if you just bring a friend, let them have the patch. They recruited somebody to come to an event. Because for a lot of kids, they'll ask, is there a patch for that? And there is. So let's give them that motivation. So another way, we mentioned Be a Scout pins. And that's a powerful part of promotion too, because families looking up online Cub Scouting will get that link very high up in their search results. So you can pitch your pack in your pin, put in links to a website or Facebook page, add contact information. You can craft both a fee email that would explain how your pack operates and pays for scouting, and that would go to people who are coming to inquire, and a welcome email for when people submit an application and join. So Key 3 leaders and Key 3 delegates have the power to update this through that website that's on that QR code there. Now, recruiting step 3. We've got a program, we're promoting it like crazy, but we only have a few returning leaders. Some moved, some crossed over to a Scouts BSA troop, some have crazy long hours now. We really haven't been doing much, so people have dropped out. So to build on that, you need a foundation of leaders and co-leaders to do Cub Scouting. This is absolutely the hardest part of successful and sustainable recruiting. Because if you ask somebody, will you be the Cub Master? Will you be the den leader? Most people are going to say no, and that's a very rational answer. Either because they don't know what it involves, or they do, and they're afraid that if they do it all, if they sign up, they'll have to do it all. They'll be the one that gets dumped on as the den leader. So a first step to help solve this for many packs is to make it clear that Cub Scouting is a family program and to create a culture of helping and leading. Now, many hands makes light work, but it doesn't happen unless you plan for it and then work your plan to give all those hands a light piece of work. And good news, we've got some tools to make that happen. On the recruiting leaders portion of the Atlanta Area Council website, we've got a PowerPoint and a Word document called 50 Ways to Lure a Leader. So apologies to Paul Simon, but basically the rewrite of that lyric would be, you ask the whole pack, Jack. Every woman and man, Stan. You don't need to be coy, Roy. Not just 1, 2, or 3. Now, we've actually got like 80 ways, but there's no song for that. But to sort through these arrows in the quiver, we put them into the following categories. Communication. Number 1, if you have every parent leads policy or every parent helps policy, share it, hammer it home, be sure that your leaders know they should be actively getting parents to follow through on that. Create ways for people to be involved, have sign-up sheets, online versions of sign-ups, use talent surveys, or just chat with parents to get a sense of who they are, what they do. Not that you're going to ask them to help right then, but you're going to file that away. And you're going to know that this dad likes to fish. More on that later. It'll give you tips about the ways to make an ask, the right ask, the small ask, and also when it's time to make the big ask for who's the next Cub Master, so that the answer will be yes. It'll give you different themes and various heartstring tugging methods to soften up your volunteer targets, to really hit them and make them think, yes, I should help. We did not put hypnotism in there yet, but we may do that in the next revision. We've also got, ideas to break down barriers between leaders and parents. For example, I'm a strong proponent of, and this will sound crazy, don't wear a uniform at a recruiting event. Why? A uniform can create a barrier. The parent will see the khaki wearing person and figure, oh, that's my scouting coach. He'll do it all. But if I dress, just like them as parents, or in my case, wearing my favorite color, tie-dye, I'm a person just like them. I'm no different. I'm not creating this artificial barrier, and that can help pull people in. We've also got some hardball communication methods when you're really stuck, like a job lottery or job roulette, where you pass out envelopes and say, okay, good news, people. in one of these envelopes is Cub Master. Who's the lucky winner? And then get people to trade back and forth. Now, we actually did that one year at a blue and gold banquet when we had to replace a Cub Master, and we didn't mean it seriously. We only meant it to drive the point home that we don't have a Cub Master for next year yet. So there's ideas to make that work. We also promote activities as bait. You put up a bunch of activities that you might do and see who hits the bait. We also have ideas about doing simple activities. You know, for example, a swimming party, super easy. You might get a parent who says, swimming, super. Is there a badge my kid can earn? And if you are a prepared den leader or Cub Master, you might say, why, yes, there is. Here's the simple plan for, you know, bear's salmon adventure, which is the aquatic adventure. And say, could you teach this part to the kids? Here it is. It's only a third of a page. That would be super helpful, because if the parent's asking about a badge, that parent wants their kid to earn a badge. And if that's what they want, they can make that happen by stepping up to help lead. Also, you know, seek the ideas that the new parents have. More on that in a second. Recognition. If you make a big deal out of the people who lead and the people who help, the people you make a big deal of will appreciate it. Others will take note. Their scouts might actually nudge their parents to participate more, because they love the fact that dad or mom is, you know, getting applause and getting recognition. We actually, as part of the event the other night, we presented our helpers who welcomed people into the room with patches like this that were very cool, highly sought after, collectible, rare. Look for them on eBay. Oh, wait, no, these are overstock patches from prior events. Now, most parents getting that, unless they're, you know, patch hoarders, will not care about that. A lot of kids will be super jazzed that dad got a patch. Dad, you have to help out next time. That way, you know, you'll get another patch, and can I have it? And, you know, I'm not above motivating parents in that way by using their kids to help them volunteer and become part of our program. Another concept, organize. Have an org chart that's broken down into bite-sized bits so that people can volunteer from day one, not just big jobs, but small jobs. Maybe have term limits. Your Cub Master for this year and the assistant Cub Master will be Cub Master next year, so that people know I've got a 1-year limit. It's not a lifetime job. Right-sized jobs. Create jobs that people can take on. Frankly, the BSA has learned about this. Being a den leader, hard job. 3-4 years ago, if you volunteer to be a den leader, they handed you something that says, so you're a new den leader. And what would it say? It would say, you are now, as a den leader, you will have weekly den meetings, so there's 4 days, a monthly pack meeting, a monthly pack activity, in addition to the pack meeting, a planning meeting, and a roundtable. So you've gone from 0 days committed to leading scouting to 8 days where you're either leading or participating to some extent. The BSA has realized that's too much, and they've now acknowledged that most dens meet every other week, and some meet maybe once a month. And that works. That can right-size the job so that people can take it on. So there's other ideas in there. Take a look at them, because you can make it work. Now, the program ideas you have, your activities, can entice people to become leaders. If you have even a wish list of activities, you may get some mom that sees Space Camp and say, ooh, I loved that as a kid. And that person may become your Space Camp promoter. We actually had a pack in South Fulton County that decided they needed more dads. They asked dads, will you be the den leader? They all said no. Then they changed their approach and asked, what do you do for fun? So they had a tailgater, a golfer, a fisher, a skier, a runner, and they built all that into their pack program with an Iron Chef contest, fishing locally, fishing on the Gulf Coast, out on the ocean, skiing, golfing, starting at a putt-putt, then a par 3. So they built that into the program, got the dads engaged that way. Some of them became den leaders. Who knew? So ask your parents, what do you like to do? You may find program as a result. And think about other ways, like den leader. That's a hard job. I would suggest that unless you have a roster of den leaders, recruit teams like den co-leaders and teams of 3 or 4. You will probably get more volunteers that way than if you ask one person to do it all. Get people to be greeters, to hand out those packets, to say welcome. And share the lead at meetings and activities. And we have tools for that through these streamlined plans for most required adventures and the family-led plans for all adventures. You have a simple handout that you could give a parent and say, could you lead this bit? For example, you're doing a hike. You bring along some of the tiger plans for the hiking adventure and ask a parent, hey, could you talk about the 6 Cub Scout essentials for hiking? That parent will say, no, I don't know what they are. In fact, I couldn't name them all a little bit ago. So, but if you give me that plan, show me the little short section where I will talk when we're about to get started, I will be an absolutely pretty decent expert at that, good enough for first graders. And then my kid will think that I'm a hero because I helped out. Because if you get parents engaged, let them lead even just a little, give them tools to lead and succeed, recognize them, maybe give them an overstock patch as a recognition item. The parent should appreciate it. Some might be embarrassed, but their child will be proud. My dad was a hero. They love him, and that builds stronger families right there. And recently I've thought about the downside of like Cub Master as hero. And the problem can be that a cub will look at their Cub Master or den leader and come home and say to dad or mom, oh, I wish you could be as awesome as my den leader. And that can be threatening to parents because, you don't want your kid to be in a program where you feel like you're inadequate compared to the den leader. But if you as a Cub Master or den leader elevate the other parents, give them small things to do, raise them in the eyes of their child, they will see their parents as superheroes, even if they don't have on a khaki Superman outfit underneath. Okay, one more step before we go into sign up events, developing and deepening your PAC presence in your community and especially in your school. As you promote your program, promote it to your school and community so that they know the PAC is back. Look at what we're doing. For your school, maybe use the Adopt a School program and do a service for them. And when you do, don't be shy about showing others that Scouts serve. Share pictures, videos, stories. Be sure that everyone knows, because parents who see that will go, oh, cool, that's one of the reasons why we like Scouting, is it's bringing home important values. Now, for recruiting and school relationships, work all your contacts. It might be the principal, but it might be another staff member, a teacher. It's good to have the maintenance staff on your side too. And empower your parents to promote the PAC at the PTA or PTO. If you're an old leader like me and you're not in those meetings and you show up, they'll wonder, why are you here? You're not a parent, you're some old dude. So empower your parents to at least say, we love Cub Scouting, this is what we're doing, come join us, because that's going to be very helpful. And keep track of opportunities like open house. You can make great one-on-one contacts peer-to-peer. If they're having it, ask what you can do. Can you be inside? If not, can you be outside? Can you set up a Pinewood Derby track, a tent, fire pit, do s'mores? And when you do those one-on-one recruitings, you can actually, do great. You have a shy kid come up clinging to mom. You can talk about, oh, we do fun field trips to like the Center for Puppetry Arts. That kid might like that. You have wild kids come up. You might ask them the 3 questions. And we actually had a leader, very veteran leader, chime in that when she left the event Wednesday night, she did this. She saw some kids, they saw her in a Scout uniform, and she asked them, do you have what it takes to be a Cub Scout? And they said, I don't know. She said, there's 3 simple tests. What are they? She said, do you like to stay up late? They said, yeah. She asked, do you like fire? Oh, yeah. Do you like to stay up late around a campfire, melting marshmallows and eating them? Yes, we love that. And she said, congratulations. You will be a very successful Cub Scout. And that can fire up kids, and then they'll bug their parents till they join. So your DE will be working with the school to set up a sign-up night. So please work together and see if you can get space on school emails, websites, etc. Okay, we're 4 steps in, we're there. We have a foundation for a great sign-up event. Maybe it'll be a group presentation like the top picture. Maybe it'll be a station-to-station event like the bottom picture. All scouting is local, fit your local situation. For example, if you don't have a lot of leaders, you'll probably do a group presentation. In either event, you may do it outdoors this year. Again, safer. In any event, remember that any fun family event for a den or a pack could be an opportunity to welcome new families. With a pack handout, new families can join in, do stuff, have those one-on-one, peer-to-peer, parent-to-parent, kid-to-kid connections that will make new families stick with you. Now, in our guide to Cub Scout family recruiting, the last part is a plan and a script for a sign-up event, whether it's a school sign-up event or a pack picnic in the park set up to pitch new families if you can't get in the school building. For a group presentation, the script goes topic by topic, covering things like calendar of activities, handbook basics, advancement, how dens work, uniforms, and of course, our favorite, program dues and fundraising. If you have a group presentation because you need leaders, do try to get as many parents as possible to present, because that will show that it's not a one leader program, that you're getting people involved. Also, you might break down some barriers if you don't wear a uniform, like I said before. That will help people realize they can step over and be leaders too. Now, the script for those topics can be used in a station-to-station event. You just have the different stations talk about their piece over and over again. And you might say, but our pack is different. We don't want to use one script. And we get that. As a wise commissioner once said to me, if you've seen one pack, you've seen one pack. Every pack is different. So in step 5 sign-up events, that page of the Atlanta Area Council recruiting resources, there's a Word version of the plan and script that you can download, copy, edit, fit your team and space and more, what your program is, how you do dues, whatever you want to pitch, and then share that with your district professionals so that you're all in sync about how your pack does scouting. George, you want to jump in and describe a little bit about how district professionals will deploy to support packs at sign-up events?
Happy to. And so this is a place we really want our packs to partner with our field staff. We been talking for almost an hour about all the great and really important things we need our packs to do. And the staff and commissioners are there to support you, but these are things that the packs need to be ready to do. Now, when it comes to working with the schools, we really want to use that opportunity to partner with the field staff to do that. And so they're available to meet during the day with principals. Love to have you come along to get these events set up. They're available to do school talks, be it on the morning announcements or into the classrooms, which you've had several schools already commit to doing that this fall, which is surprising, but we're excited nonetheless. And then on the sign-up nights as well. And like Bert said, it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's a partnership. Let's work together on who's going to say what in the script. And we're going to be there to help deliver those Cub Scout handbooks and help ensure that we can get everyone registered on those sign-up events. So we've tasked the staff, I'll let everyone here know, to meet with each of their pack leaders over the course of the next few weeks to build that plan. So feel free to be proactive and start that conversation. We want to work with you on the school part of these events.
All right. Terrific. So follow up. In any event, whether a school sign-up night or a pack park picnic joining event, be sure that you are following up with the parents there and afterwards to submit their online applications. If you use online registration, National will collect the national registration fee through the end of the calendar year. That's a big help with budgeting. You don't have to collect that money through your pack dues. But if you collect paper applications, you'll need to figure out the right amount, collect the registration fee, make sure the paper application is complete. Again, all more reasons why online is super. And it also gets them in the system faster for things like the launch kits. And don't forget those who didn't sign up. Just because they didn't sign up at the sign-up event doesn't mean they don't want to join. Keep in touch with them. Let them know what your next fun events are. Let them know what your new events are that you hadn't planned yet. Because, the reason why they didn't sign up may mean that, mom thought dad was doing the registration because, it's a scout thing. And dad thought mom was doing it since mom always takes care of the kids' stuff. So keep in touch with those families until they say yes. Because the last step in recruiting is more fun activities. Activities that are simple, that are easy, that spark joy, that build stronger families through scouting. That's the key to sustainable recruiting. After sign up night, you keep it going and have fun, because our goal isn't just to retain those scouts, it's to grow from those scouts you get at sign up night. Those scouts invite their friends, and their friends invite other friends. Their parents invite their peers. They come, they like it, they invite other peers. More scouts, more families join. So we don't want a PAX retention percentage to be 37% or 60%. We want it to jump to 110% or more. Yes, this is a place where 110% is possible, or more. With enough fun activities and parent involvement, we can grow scouting like a pyramid scheme. Okay, actually not for money, but a Ponzi scheme payoff, where the payoff is appreciation for delivering a great program that builds stronger families through scouting. So as you look at your program now and beyond your sign-up events, apply the fun meter, add more fun events as needed, encourage more families, and you'll have a better Cub Scout program, and we'll all build stronger families through scouting.